Good afternoon. My name is Priscilla Baker, and I'm the academic advisor for Biological Systems Engineering. We're going to show you a short video about the department, and then our panelists will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for coming today.
My name is Priscilla Baker, and I'm the Biological Systems Engineering Advisor here at Virginia Tech. Biological systems engineers combine biology, chemistry, math, physics, and engineering to solve complex problems and develop solutions to some of the most pressing problems our society faces today, namely sustainable energy sources, safe water and food supplies, affordable medicine and healthcare, and conservation of natural resources. Think about what you did today. Did you use water from the faucet, eat breakfast, take prescription medicine, or put ethanol, amended gasoline in your car? A biological systems engineer influenced every one of those activities. Our faculty and students work in a broad range of biological systems, from metabolic engineering to produce valuable substances at the cellular level, to restoring water resources across the Chesapeake Bay watershed. We seek to improve animal, human, and environmental health through development and design of healthy food products, vaccines, bioenergy, biomaterials, and holistic environmental restoration designs, all in a sustainable manner. BSc students may focus their studies in career areas such as biotechnology, environmental health, food engineering, watershed management, or professions in the health fields. Now we will let some of them tell you a bit about themselves and what led them to BSc.
Hey guys, my name's Emily. I'm a senior studying biological systems engineering and I'm on the biotechnology track. I chose to go into BSc because it does a really good job of pursuing the concepts that are big in life sciences while teaching you engineering principles to solve the problems that are big in today's life science areas. So after graduation, I'm going to work in industry for a pharmaceutical company, Merck. And so far, so much of what I've learned in my BSc classes is directly translatable as to what I'm going to see in industry. And this program did a really good job preparing me for a job in the biotech industry.
Hi, my name is Nick, and I'm a senior in BSc on the Health Professions and Biotech track. Growing up, I wanted to be a physician, and at the same time, I wanted to be an engineer. So when I got to college, I hated the idea of just restricting myself into one of these categories. This was until I found an interdisciplinary major like Biological Systems Engineering. With BSc, you don't have to be restricted into just one category, into following just one passion, but have the chance to embrace all of them. From the major, I was able to continue developing my skills as both an engineer and a future physician, and look to keep doing so in what I hope to become, a physician innovator, someone in service to others as a physician, but at the same time looking to create or optimize medical devices to better serve them in the process.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a junior in BSc focused on watershed and environmental health. I have a minor in green engineering. I chose BSc because I want to make sure that our water resources stay clean for the future. We got to make sure we have enough water to drink. Last year, I took a co-op with a paper mill, and I really enjoyed it. So hopefully in the future, I will become an environmental engineer at some form of industrial site so that I can make sure that industry doesn't continue to pollute our streams.
Hey guys, my name is Kieran, and I'm a senior in BSc this year. So one of the main reasons I chose BSc as my major is because of the versatility. As a pre-med student, BSc has allowed me to intertwine my passions for both science and engineering through taking science classes like microbiome or genetics, as well as engineering classes like fluid mechanics or protein separation. Not to mention the super cool labs available too. So with the health professions path, I was able to get all my pre-med requirements relatively easily and bridge the gap between these two pretty unique fields. So following graduation, I plan on taking a gap year and attending medical school and hopefully becoming a physician.
Hi everyone, my name's Madeline and I'm a senior studying biological systems engineering with a focus in environmental health and watershed science. I initially chose to major in BSc because I wanted a department where I could get involved in and gain that hands-on experience in. I think BSc does a great job of teaching the students the methods and processes of how to solve problems, and then providing the labs for students to work those problems out themselves. I've been in both indoor and outdoor labs where I'm surveying the cross-section of a stream and taking velocity measurements, which I think really exposes students to future work they could be doing. I've been doing undergraduate research for over a year now, and I think the department really encourages students to get more involved while also providing opportunities like research to get involved in. In the future, I hope to work internationally, hopefully focusing on water quality, water resources, and sustainability. Thanks, and go Hokies!
Hi, so why did I decide to be in BSc? So I've always been interested in making products and processes possible. So originally I looked into chemical engineering, but how chemical engineering was portrayed to me was, oh, you're doing that but with paint and tires and things like that. And I was like, oh, those things don't interest me very much. So I was like, why don't we try doing the same thing but with a splash of biology in it? And when you put that all together, you pretty much get BSc. So let's see, what am I specializing in? I'm specializing in food engineering and biotechnology, and for obvious reasons, who doesn't love food? And then I just always had a general interest in bacteria and enzymes and things like that. And what would I like to do in the future? So again, summing all of that up, working in the biotech space, the food space, or potentially even the cosmetic space, and doing things like engineering support to R&D. So working in that phase where you're doing research and development to generate a product and then scaling that up, as well as just developing processes and maintaining processes in general. So yeah, that's why I'm in BSc.
All right. So welcome everyone. I know some of you didn't get to see the beginning of the video. It is on our website, so you would be able to see it in its entirety if you wanted to go back and do that. For anyone who has questions in the Q&A box, you can put any questions you might have, and our panelists will answer those for you. You saw, I think, all of them in that video, actually. So we have Emily Parsons, who did the biotechnology path. Rachel Lake did watershed science. Hannah Coogan did food, and Kieran is pre-med. So we'll see, as far as your questions go, if they might be specific to one of them. Otherwise, while you're thinking of your questions, I think I'm just going to have each one of them just introduce themselves, where they're from, perhaps why they decided on Virginia Tech and BSc specifically, though you just heard a little bit about that, but they might have just a little bit more to say while you collect your questions. So Emily, why don't you start us off?
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Emily. I am from Chesapeake, Virginia, so just about as far away as you can get from Blacksburg and still stay in state. So that's fun to have both the beach and the mountains here in Virginia. So I chose Virginia Tech because it met my top 3 criteria, that being a Virginia school, a reputable engineering program, and something that was a little bit different from where I grew up. Because I grew up in the suburbs, so, you know, coming out here, Appalachia is very different. And Tech just absolutely crossed all of those things, like checked them right off my list. They had everything that I wanted. And as I continued throughout my time at Tech, I was constantly reminded of this was the right decision. I'm constantly being challenged in my courses to become a better student, become a better leader, become a better listener. So coming to Tech isn't just all about building your hard skills and getting the degree, but it's also learning about how you can make an impact in this world. And I think that is another really great thing that is super elucidated in the BSc department as well. I've always been the kind of person that, wants to go out and change the world in a very cliche way, but with what I've learned in BSc, I feel like I have the skills equipped, both the technical skills and the soft skills, to go out and feel like the work I will be doing will genuinely improve the life of somebody else. So Tech has been nothing but welcoming to me, and the BSc community has helped me thrive in what I've been really passionate about.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Rachel, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Rachel. I'm from Ono, West Virginia, so that is I'm 30 minutes from Ohio and Kentucky, so right over there. I actually wasn't planning on going to Virginia Tech. I initially wanted to go to University of Kentucky because they had a good engineering program there. But then my mom was like, you need to go visit Virginia Tech. So we went to an open house, and then I decided, this is home. It feels really cliche, but I stepped on campus, and it just felt so welcoming. Everybody was so happy. It's a beautiful area. And I haven't regretted my decision. So yeah, and then I chose BSc mostly because it was a smaller major, and I can do environmental stuff with it too. I initially wanted to go into chemical because I had never heard of BSc. But once I found out about biological systems, I decided that that was the one for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. Hannah?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Hannah Coogan. I'm a senior in BSc studying, focusing in food engineering. I'm from Roanoke, Virginia, which is 30 minutes away, so I'm pretty close to home. But that's honestly not the main. I probably would have gone out of state if I really wanted to. But when I visited all of my different colleges, I think I did VCU, NC State, and here, and obviously good engineering programs all around. But this was the friendliest campus. I kid you not. You'll ask somebody for directions, and they'll be happy to help you, and you won't know them from Adam. It's like the nicest thing. As well as I kind of feel the same way about the BSc department. There's so much camaraderie. We're all here to help each other out. It's so nice to have. It's not a competitive environment by any means. Like, oh, I'm trying to do better than you. I'm not going to help you. It's totally collaborative and so friendly. And that's a big part of why I liked the BSc program as well. But going in, the reason I picked BSc was because again, kind of the video alluded to this a little bit, but I was originally, like Rachel, was going to do chemical engineering, but a big reason was actually the sustainability focus that comes with BSc. I really wanted to do something that, like Emily said, changes the world. And I honestly, companies are also looking for people that have knowledge about sustainable practices and not just chemical engineering in general, as well as I liked the idea that you could focus on food. So that was pretty cool too.
All right. And Kieran, tell us what led you to Virginia Tech.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Kieran. I came to VT for a couple of reasons. For one, it was actually rated really highly on student happiness, which I thought was really cool. If you look around, like everyone was saying, like students are really happy. They're super friendly. They'll help you out even if you don't know them at all. So that's really cool. And they also obviously have a very good engineering program, and they're in the state of Virginia. And lastly, I'm honestly like a huge Harry Potter fan, and I thought the architecture here was really, really reminiscent, and it's just a beautiful place to go to school, honestly. As for why I chose BSc, it's super versatile. I have interest in a lot of different fields, engineering, science, medicine, biology, and BSc kind of allowed me to pursue all these types of different things. And even if it's things that are not necessarily relevant to what I'm hoping to pursue, like environmental stuff, I've still learned a lot from it. And I'm hoping the problem-solving skills can help me in whatever field I'm moving on to. So, yeah.
Okay, so our first question up, I'm going to answer this one live. So the question is related to wanting to build prosthetics, if this is the correct department, and if this is related to biotechnology. So the answer to that question is that if you are wanting to do biomedical engineering, you put biomechanical engineering in your question. What that department would actually be called here is, the excuse me, sorry about that. There's the biomedical engineering department here, and they formerly you could have done prosthetics in ESM, which is engineering, science, and mechanics, or in mechanical engineering. ESM is no longer a major. They merged and are now the biomedical engineering department. So the answer to the question is, if you want to do something at the prosthetic level, you would want to be in biomedical engineering or mechanical. As far as biotechnology goes, we are much more at the cellular level with gene therapies, cancer therapies, things at the very, very microbial level. So if that is your desire as a career, you probably would want to look at one of those other two departments. Thank you for your question. Well, I will leave that open, and I think I'll just have the panelists just, if you could each choose a club or organization that you got involved with at Tech, and just briefly say what it was and why it was meaningful for you. And if there are more questions come up, we'll tackle those. So, Kieran, why don't you start out since you ended last time?
Yeah, sure. So I guess one club that was pretty meaningful to me was Delta Epsilon Mu, which is the pre-health co-ed fraternity. So coming into college, my idea of what a fraternity was very different than what it actually is. Like some fraternities are, I guess, very social and they have that like whole partying aspect of it. But there's others that are super professional and you can get a lot out of it. Not only have I gotten super great professional connections and networking connections that are definitely going to help me on my path to being a physician, but I've also met some really cool people, some super determined, motivated people with like-minded interests. So that's probably one of the best clubs and best decisions I've made at VT.
Okay, so while we're between people, I'm going to answer this next question. So the question for everyone is, what is our placement rate for graduating seniors? And I'm assuming you're referring to jobs. So roughly 2/3 of our seniors end up in industry, and about 1/3 end up going to graduate school of some kind. That's roughly the split. And of that 2/3 that goes into industry, they either have jobs by fall or spring or within 6 months of graduating, which that is really true of any department. Generally speaking, if you don't have a job within 6 months of graduating with an engineering degree, generally speaking, there is something wrong with how you are searching and looking and the tools that you're using. So these panelists will tell you that I spend a lot of time educating them about the best ways to go about getting internships, research, and ultimately job experiences. I have separate emails that I send to seniors all year with job opportunities in it and try and hook them up with alumni. You'll want to, you have to start that process right out of the gate in terms of seeking out opportunities early on for internships, research, etc. Because getting a job when you don't have those things, and if you have not a great GPA on top of it, placement is trickier. But I've seen plenty of students who had those experiences that compensated for a less than stellar GPA that got jobs just fine. But it is a process that starts early on where you really need to have a LinkedIn presence, Handshake presence, which is our local to universities. Handshake is sort of the search engine for jobs just out of college. It's a nationwide platform. And I spend a lot of time weekly educating you as to ways to develop yourselves professionally. Are there a lot of internship and co-op opportunities for students to gain experience through the 4 years of school? Who are your top companies offering internships and co-ops? So that's kind of a two-part thing there. Again, are there a lot? There are tons out there, but searching for them and finding them and applying to them and not doing so blindly, but methodically and with intention and with all of the resources available to you. Again, that's part of being educated as a young professional. Your needs are going to change freshman year through senior year in terms of what sorts of resources you're going to be using and how you are using them. And that is a process. And it's not a simple one either. It is painstaking and takes a long time. And, very few students are just handed a job. That just doesn't happen. I would say, so I know Rachel has had internships. Emily has also, Hannah did a full year co-op. So we have about 6 minutes. So this is a really good question. And Kieran has done shadowing of doctors. So with the time that remains, I think I'm going to let them speak briefly to the co-ops that they did. In terms of top companies, I can't necessarily say that because there are so many, but certainly on the biotech side, Merck and Pfizer would be our top two. Food, Hershey and Conagra. For water and environmental science, those ones are all over the place. Lots of environmental consulting firms, nonprofits, government agencies, etc. So Emily, why don't you just briefly say the internships that you did and where?
Sure. So I did a technical operations internship at Merck in their Virginia site, and I actually got that internship from a meeting held specifically for biological systems engineering students. So Merck recruiters came to Virginia Tech, and we got the chance to speak to them just as BSE students. So that was really nice. It was a really great way to get my foot in the door before applying for that internship, and I really think it helped because they were Virginia Tech graduates who came to recruit Virginia Tech students for internships at full-time jobs. So that was really fun. And with that internship, I heard a lot of the terms that I heard in class. Because like sometimes you sit in class and you're like, when am I ever going to use this? And then you go in industry and you're like, oh my God, like I'm using this. So my time in BSE has completely prepared me for a professional life in the biopharmaceutical industry with Merck.
Yay, I'm so glad. Yeah, I've been bringing Merck for the last few years. We have a lot of students that have interned there and gotten jobs there. Rachel, you've had 2 experiences, so why don't you just briefly say, Renee?
Yeah, I co-opted in the fall 2019 at WestRock in their West Point paper mill. I was their environmental co-op. So I did a lot of wastewater treatment analysis. I led their recycling program. It was a lot of fun. And then I got invited back for the summer of 2020. So whenever everybody was doing their virtual internships, I got to go in person. I felt really happy about that. So I got to go back to the same place, and I got even more experience because I got to work more with the contractors. I would say it definitely did help with classes. So I'm in a lot of environmental classes right now, and I've already learned a bunch of stuff about water and wastewater, and so it makes classwork very easy. Oh, and then I have another internship this summer at Celanese, which is a chemical plant, and I'll be working in their environmental department for mostly wastewater treatment. So,
yeah. Thank you. All right, Kieran, how about your shadowing?
Yeah, so for the pre-medical route, it's a bit different. Internships and co-ops aren't too big, but yeah, I shadowed a couple physicians, volunteered at a couple places, and yeah, the knowledge that I've gained from BSc classes has kind of helped me. And even the title as like an engineer, whenever I tell like medical professionals or residents or med students that, they kind of you get a pretty cool reaction because most people are not engineers that are pre-med. So yeah, that's been pretty fun.
All right, thank you. And Hannah did a very long co-op at Hershey, so she'll tell you about that.
Yeah, so I did a 15-month stint at Hershey as their product and process optimization co-op. So big name, what the heck does that mean? Essentially what I did was we changed ingredients going into products to make them more cost effective. And basically you have to go through the whole process of, okay, let's make this on the bench top. Is it feasible, the ingredients, and then put that into your product. And then, okay, let's scale it up to the pilot plant. Let's make hundreds to, a couple hundreds of samples on the bench top or in the pilot plant doing that. And then once you've done that there, then you're okay, let's go to a plant scale and make that and make, 10,000 pounds of whatever ingredient you're making and incorporate that into product and like 3 shifts of that product. So that was in a nutshell what I did for my co-op program. And then I also did a biotechnology internship with a company called Novozymes. And essentially there, what I did was patent work. So a lot of it I can't really explain, but basically making shelf-stable spores, which are basically the state in which bacteria, when they're in a harsh environment, they go dormant, which was basically a spore. Working on making that more durable spores via putting things into their environment that will make them more durable. So that was what I did with Novozymes.
Okay, and I see we've only got 1 minute left. Did anyone out there have an additional question? Okay, well, we'll let you get ready for whatever your next seminar is that you've chosen. If you have any additional questions, you can email me at bseadvising@vt.edu. I'm the sole academic advisor for the department. So if you come our way, you'll be working closely with me. Oh, a question's just popped up. How competitive is it to get into BSE? So at Virginia Tech, you spend your freshman year in general engineering, and whatever your GPA is at the end of that freshman year, when you're done completing the required courses to get into a degree granting department, of which we have 14 of those here at Virginia Tech, if you have a 3.0 or above, you are automatically granted access into your department of choice. If you have below a 3.0, you are rank ordered against the other applicants. So if you have a 3.0, it's not competitive in terms of, I mean, there's nothing further than your GPA. Below that, it depends on the pool of people who have applied. Any other questions? Okay, like I said, feel free to contact me for further questions. If you had further questions for any of my student ambassadors, I can certainly put you in contact with them. So I hope you have a good evening, and thank you so much for coming.